Hello guys, I am Lazy Admin and welcome back for another video. So let's get started. In today's video, we will discuss about different solutions for load balancing slash reverse proxy, and we'll demonstrate an example of how HAProxy works. In this part of the video, we will discuss what actually load balancing is. And if you know the answer to this, please skip past this section. So guys, load balancing in general term is balancing the load between multiple servers. Uh, I will give you an example. I have a picture drawn here on the paint. So I'll just show you. So here you go. As you can see, there's a user, he is connected to the internet and he wants to open a website, let's say google.com. We can say he wants to open www.google.com. But actually there is not a single guy. There are thousands, millions of people out there who are trying to open google.com. So one web server cannot handle all the load. So what organizations do, they create multiple instances of web servers to cater all these incoming traffic. So if we are not in a load balancing situation, our user will connect to internet and request goes to the app server, and that's it. But if you have load balancing, then you actually connect to internet and go to the proxy, that is a load balancer. You can call it a load balancer as well, or HAProxy or Nginx, or there are many other solutions out there, or F5. So you connect, uh, this proxy actually decides, this load balancer actually decide based on the algorithm that it will forward your traffic to which web server or an application server. So it solves a lot of problem, a lot of issues of traffic for us. As you can see here, I have put the logo of HAProxy and F5. F5 is enterprise level solution for load balancing and firewall, application firewall. It's one of the top out there in the market. While HAProxy is an open source solution. It's free without any licensing terms. You can just download the binaries, configure it, and start utilizing all the features. So in our demonstration, we will use HAProxy. HAProxy stands for high availability. Oh, we all do love high availability. In case one server dies, we still have the application available. So high availability in terms of or application, database, or anything. So this is a very popular open source software for TCP slash HTTP load balancing. I'm talking about HAProxy. So the other alternatives that I have just mentioned are Nginx, Squid, Varnish, and this F5 I've already shown you. The load balancing techniques that normally the load balancers are using or the reverse proxies are using is layer 4. What happens in layer 4 is actually the load is balanced based on the port number. Port, for argument's sake, let's say port 80. So all port 80 traffic, let's say, will be moved to certain web server. So let's say if the different port traffic comes, so we can write an ACL to forward it to another web server. So based on that, it can do a load balancing. There is another kind of load balancing exists today, that is called application level load balancing. So now the proxies have become so intelligent that they can read the application header and they can decide which, for argument's sake, let's say my website is running a blog and login page, login page for employees and login page for blog. So actually when the user request comes, so my proxy can distinguish that the user is requesting for blog login. So it, based on that, it can move to a different app server in my environment. So basically this kind of a this kind of a load balancing is called layer 7 load balancing. So we have discussed about two kind of a load balancing is layer 4, that is port based, and layer 7, that is application based. So as you can see, so in a same environment, more than two web servers, or more than two web servers can coexist with different applications and can be load balanced. So guys, let's talk little about HAProxy terminologies. So as you can see, I've written the first thing is access control list. Access control list is nothing but a group of rules that we want to execute and control the traffic that is coming to HAProxy and load balance according to that rules. So these are actually conditions that are performed, that are used to perform actions. So the combination of these ACL operators are as follows. So you can use conditions like if, unless, or equal. And the supported operators here are and, or, negate. This is the most basic form of uh, operators that are being used in development. Actually, if you understand a little bit about development, how they perform the functions, you can ace all these operators. For argument's sake, for example, it is mentioned here, uh, ACL. ACL means this is the syntax ACL, and the URL underscore login path underscore beginning slash login. So it means if this ACL is executed over my server, it means when someone writes the name of my server, www.lazyadmin.com, for argument's sake, this is an example, there is no lazyadmin.com out there. So it will open up www.lazyadmin.com slash login. So it will open the first page, that is slash login. There are other two terminologies widely used here are backend server and front-end server. So by the name backend means there are servers that are on the backend of HAProxy. Backend servers, like they can be a web servers, they can be an application servers. So what is the functionality of a backend server is these are group of server that received forwarded requests from front end. So these are list of servers, and they can be load balanced based on the algorithm used by front end. So what is front end? Front end is basically your HAProxy server. So what is the responsibility of front end server is how requests should be forwarded to the backend. It contains set of IP addresses and ports and ACLs. So the backend rule, which is already defined in backend servers, based on the algorithms, it will load balance between different application of web servers. Okay, now load balancing techniques or algorithms we will discuss. So, guys, there are by default there is one technique called round robin. You are all are familiar with what round robin is. Round robin is if you have two servers, then round robin is one request to one server and the other request to the other server. So they means it will load balance one by one. Means one request here, one request goes the other way. Second method is least connection. Least connection, actually the proxy checks which server has the least connection. When this least connection is used, uh, when you have longer sessions on servers, your application creates longer sessions, so that time you use least connection out there. So another is source. Another algorithm is source. So source load balancing is when you want to move a certain source of certain traffic coming from a certain source to some of your web servers in out there. For example, I want to send certain set of my users to this web server, and I want to show them the older version of my application. Let's say one of the web server is configured with an older version, and I know the users that are coming from some other let's say some other region of my country, or from other country, I want to show them older version of the application. So basically I can do that by configuring by using the algorithm source. Fourth algorithm that we are going to discuss is sticky session. Sticky session means stick to the server. For example, the user came, it connected to one server and started the application. Now, whenever he comes back, his session will be connected to the same server. It will not be directed to another server. This is sticky session. The fifth algorithm that is being used here is health check. So there are certain health checks are performed before forwarding the request to a particular server. Alrighty. So that's it. We are now going to head back to our configuration where we'll see how to configure HAProxy, and we will have two web servers running Apache. I can draw one example in here. Let's say we will be having two web servers that are running Apache, and in front of them we will put HAProxy machine, and we will create a static page, and then we will hit our HAProxy and see how it load balances. So let's get started, folks. First of all, we are going to configure our web servers. So I have VM03 and VM04, two CentOS machines already installed. This is basically a minimal install. And let's install web server over here. So yum install httpd. So we are going to install Apache server. So I'll head to another virtual machine and I will execute the same command yum install. So I have executed the install package on both of the machines. So it has completed successfully. Let's head to the configuration. Alrighty, let's get started with HAProxy configuration. So we'll head back to our party session and we'll start the configuration. So for this configuration, folks, I have one HAProxy machine and two web servers that I will do load balancing on. So let's first start with the web servers and install Apache server in here. I'll go to the other server and execute the same command. In the meantime, I will install HAProxy in here. Oh, it's already installed. If it is not installed, you can use the same command. Yum install HAProxy. So our servers are getting ready. Okay, my configuration is installed. So let's create a static page, and for that I will head into var www html, and I will create my index page in here. So index.html page in here. So I have a little configuration saved to create the index page that I will just paste here. Oh, I've missed some tags, so let's add the tags here. HTML and body. Okay, that's it. So this is my first web server. I will save and exit, and let me just copy this information. So I'll save and exit and start the HTTP. Okay, systemctl start HTTPD. Okay, my web server has started. Let's check if it is. By the way, if you start any service through systemctl and if it has any error, it would give you right away on the screen. So yes, it is running. So let's head back to the second server, cd/var. Okay, let me show you another way. Rather than creating a file here, I will just export the file from VM03 to VM04. So what is our IP? Our IP is 8.101. So I'm currently here. So scp index.html root at 192.168.8.101 var www.html. Here I want to execute this. Yes, and password is password. Okay, so file has been copied there. If we come back here and cd/var www html. So folks, we have the file in here. So let's start our HTTP server. Okay, so we have started the second server. But before doing that, let's do a minor change in here. So we'll know this is the second server. Second server. Restart the service. Okay, done. So now we are going to head back to our browser and check if the servers are running fine. So as you can see, the first server it's running. Let's check the second server. 8.101, and the second server is also running. So both of our web servers are working fine. So we'll head back to the proxy server setting. So let's get back to our PuTTY session and get back to our proxy server, HAProxy. So folks, I'll head back to my machine. So HAProxy is installed already. So we'll just head to the configuration cd/etc/HAProxy. Yeah, you got it. This is the configuration file. Let's make a backup. Now we can edit the configuration file for HAProxy. So folks, this is the default configuration, how it looks like. You can see there are certain parameters in here that you fine tune in the load balancer, that is timeout, retries, client and server settings, and all that. You can fine tune them for your installation. I'll keep it like it is. And let's head back to the uh, end of the configuration file, and here we are going to define front end configuration and backend configuration. The people who have already worked on systems like F5, they can recall front end is actually your virtual server and back end is actually your pool. And in the pool, you define the nodes. So this is the configuration. I will do the configuration now. So it's going to be front end. So the first thing is front end I will define, and web server, or you can name it anything. Like I can name it HAProxy. It's the name of actually your machine. So we'll name it, and the next thing we are going to do is we are going to bind. Bind means it's listing on which port. So I say all the ports on this virtual machine are bind to 80. So another thing we are going to establish in here, we are going to define default backend. So in F5 you call it pool. Sorry, default backend, and you will name it something. Let's say pool 1. So this is all. Now we will define the backend configuration. For the backend configuration, we need first we will need backend name. So we will define the backend name like backend and name it pool 1, exactly like we mentioned in front end server. Then we are going to define the balancing, and then we will put the node information. So I will keep balance is round robin, and server node 1 is 192.100 port 80 check. Server node 2 100, sorry, it's 101 port 80 checked. So this is all I have to establish here in this configuration. Server node 1, node 2, and the load balancing algorithm. So that's it. I will save and quit, and systemctl start HAProxy. First let's check the status if it is already enabled or not. No, it's not started, so let's start it now. Yes, folks, my first web server, first time I hit, it's the first web server, and the second time I hit, it's in the second web server. So this is as easy as it looks. For more advanced configuration, there is HAProxy community out there. There are a lot of options you can configure and add cookies, sticky sessions, have more customized advanced checks, URL rerouting. You can do a lot of things. All that is on enterprise level load balancers. So that's it, folks. I hope you have liked the video, and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.